Have you ever heard the saying, the heart wants what it wants, but the mind must guard the door? It's a timeless piece of wisdom that rings especially true in the digital age, where love, or what masquerades as love, can appear at the swipe of a finger. For many widows and widowers in their golden years, the loss of a lifelong partner leaves a void that's hard to fill. The house echoes with silence. Evenings stretch on endlessly, and the simple act of sharing a meal becomes a reminder of what's missing. Friends and family might gently suggest dipping a toe into the world of online dating apps. After all, isn't technology supposed to connect us? But what if that connection comes at a cost far greater than a monthly subscription fee? What if jumping into online dating after widowhood could quietly erode the security, peace, and well-being you've spent decades building? I've dedicated over 15 years to studying senior wellness, poring over reports from organizations like the FTC and AARP, and speaking with cybersecurity experts, psychologists, and elder law attorneys across the United States. From bustling cities like New York to quiet suburbs in Florida, I've heard stories that would make your heart ache. Tales of hope turned to heartbreak, savings vanished into the ether, and trust shattered beyond repair. Today, I need to share something that's rarely discussed openly, but is increasingly urgent: the hidden dangers of online dating apps for seniors emerging from widowhood. Experts warned that while the promise of companionship is alluring, the risks can be devastating, especially for those in their 60s, 70s, and beyond. Someone once told me a piece of advice that stuck. Even if you've created a profile, matched with someone charming, and planned that first video call, if something feels off, even a whisper of doubt, delete the app. The momentary disappointment is nothing compared to the years of regret that could follow. Because here's the uncomfortable truth: online dating and genuine connection aren't always the same, particularly after losing a spouse. Psychologists, fraud investigators, and even family counselors see the patterns time and again, patterns that many grieving seniors don't spot until it's too late. In this discussion, I'll outline 5 expert-backed reasons why widows and widowers should think twice before diving into dating apps. These aren't just my views. They're drawn from real data, professional insights, and heartbreaking accounts from places like Massachusetts and Colorado. If you're reading this, whether you're considering swiping right yourself or worried about a loved one, stick with me to the end. This could safeguard more than your heart. It could protect your future. Share your thoughts in the comments. Give this a thumbs up if it resonates, and let's dive in. The first reason experts caution against rushing into online dating apps after widowhood is the rampant prevalence of romance scams that can drain your savings dry. According to the Federal Trade Commission, romance scams reached a record high in recent years, with losses totaling hundreds of millions annually and seniors over 60 bearing a disproportionate share of the burden. In 2024 alone, reports indicate that people lost over $1 billion to these frauds, with the median loss for those 70 and older hitting $9,000, far higher than younger demographics. Scammers prey on the emotionally vulnerable, like recent widows and widowers, crafting elaborate personas to build trust before striking. Take the story of Pat from Nebraska, an 83-year-old widow who joined a senior-focused dating site after her husband of 55 years passed. She matched with Lewis, who claimed to be a 62-year-old engineer working overseas. He showered her with compliments, shared fabricated stories of his own loneliness, and soon asked for small loans to cover emergencies, a classic tactic. Before her family intervened, Pat had wired $98,000, wiping out much of her retirement nest egg. Cybersecurity experts from firms like Kaspersky explained that older adults are targeted because they're perceived as having more disposable income and less tech-savvy, making them easier marks. These fraudsters often operate from abroad, using stolen photos and scripted dialogues to manipulate emotions. But it's not just the financial hit. The FTC notes that these scams spike after life events like widowhood, when loneliness peaks. In states like California and Texas, law enforcement has seen a surge in cases where victims send money via wire transfers, gift cards, or even cryptocurrency, methods that are nearly impossible to recover. One elder law attorney in Rhode Island shared with me that they've handled dozens of cases where seniors lost homes or faced bankruptcy after falling for these schemes. The emotional manipulation is sophisticated. Scammers love bomb with constant attention, exploiting the skin hunger many widows feel after years of physical companionship. Experts from the FBI and AARP advise verifying identities through reverse image searches or video calls, but even then, deepfakes pose new threats. Yet many seniors, fresh from grief, overlook red flags like inconsistent stories or requests for money. The truth is, companionship doesn't require risking your financial security. Community centers, senior groups, or even pet adoption events in places like Florida's retirement communities offer safer ways to connect. Before downloading that app, ask yourself, am I seeking love or just filling a void? If it's the latter, pause. The scam artists are counting on your haste. The second reason to hesitate is the emotional vulnerability that can lead to hasty, regrettable decisions. Widowhood often leaves individuals raw, grappling with grief, loneliness, and a shattered sense of self. Psychologists note that this period heightens susceptibility to love bombing, where potential partners overwhelm with affection to bypass rational defenses. For widowers like Mark from Colorado, who at nearly 70 found himself entangled in multiple online relationships, the rush of attention masked deeper issues, leading to emotional exhaustion and financial loss. Christine, a dating coach specializing in widows, shared in interviews how grief can cloud judgment, making seniors ignore mismatches or red flags. In one case, a 74-year-old woman from Massachusetts lost $450,000 to a scammer posing as a romantic interest, but the emotional toll was worse. She spiraled into depression, questioning her worth. Studies from Psychology Today highlight that seniors may rush into online dating without processing their loss, leading to rebound-like scenarios that amplify pain. Therapists emphasize late-life autonomy, where independence post-widowhood allows for self-rediscovery. Yet apps encourage quick judgments based on profiles, fostering rejection sensitivity. One widower in a Reddit forum described feeling vulnerable and failing after repeated ghosting, exacerbating his grief. In the US, where over 11 million people are widowed, this vulnerability is widespread, with experts recommending grief counseling before dating. Alternatives like widow support groups in cities like Chicago provide emotional safety without the pressure. Remember, true healing comes from within, not a digital match. The third reason involves privacy breaches that expose personal data, putting you at risk for identity theft and further exploitation. Dating apps collect vast amounts of information. Photos, locations, interests, and breaches are alarmingly common. In late 2024, senior dating suffered a massive leak, exposing over 765,000 users' emails, birth dates, and even photos, leaving them vulnerable to phishing and harassment. Similar incidents hit platforms like ladies.com, affecting another 850,000, many seniors. A study from Sage Journals on seniors' privacy concerns found that those 65+ often underestimate risks, sharing details that hackers exploit. Take the case of users on kink and LGBT apps, where 1.5 million explicit images were leaked online, including seniors exploring post-widowhood. In the US, where data protection laws vary by state, California residents have some recourse under CCPA, but many in rural areas like Iowa face limited options. Cybersecurity firms warn that scammers use breached data to personalize attacks, leading to elder financial abuse. Experts from Verif note that fake profiles thrive on stolen data, targeting widows with tailored messages. To mitigate, use apps with strong privacy features, like Senior Match's recent enhancements. But why risk it? Local senior centers in places like Arizona offer in-person mixers with built-in safety. The fourth reason is the family concerns that arise, creating tension and division. Adult children often worry about their parents' safety, fearing scams or emotional harm. In forums like Reddit, one grandchild described their widowed grandmother's unsafe online habits, leading to family interventions. Heritage Senior Communities advises families to discuss boundaries, as seniors with nest eggs are prime targets. A 77-year-old father's involvement in scams prompted his child to seek help, highlighting how online dating can strain family bonds. Elder law experts note that misrepresentation on apps fuels distrust, with complaints rising about fraud and deception. In cases like an 82-year-old man accumulating girlfriends who were scammers, families face heartbreak and financial cleanup. Parenting Aging Parents suggests open talks about protecting assets while supporting social needs. Safer options? Family-vetted events in communities like those in Michigan.
The fifth reason is the health impacts from stress and disappointments, which can exacerbate age-related issues. Forbes health surveys reveal 78% of users experience burnout from rejection, leading to anxiety and depression. For seniors, this stress raises blood pressure and weakens immunity per studies on dating apps' mental health effects. One older adult reported increased social anxiety from ghosting, compounding grief. Research from OBM Geriatrics notes seniors' vulnerability to rejection and scamming, impacting well-being. Mentor Research Institute links app use to self-esteem dips and compulsive behaviors. Instead, pursue hobbies or therapy, far healthier paths. To recap, first, romance scams drain savings. Second, emotional vulnerability leads to poor choices. Third, privacy breaches expose data. Fourth, family tensions arise. Fifth, health suffers from stress. Have you or a loved one faced this? Comment below, like if this helped, and subscribe for more senior insights. Protect your peace, it's priceless.